The term Detroit versus everybody came from the streets. Rappers didn't start it. The term Detroit versus everybody existed when the rappers that y'all now know who are the stars right now, they was kids. If they were even alive. There was an understanding amongst Detroiters that when we travel, wherever we travel to, that if we see somebody from Detroit in distress, even if we beefing with them back home, we are supposed to come to their aid and assistance. Here's what destroyed Detroit versus everybody. Gangs. In Detroit adopting or becoming gang members and representing the LA flag. That is what destroyed the whole concept and principle of Detroit versus everybody.
Yo, what's good, man? It's your boy BT Scoot TV, man. And y'all already know what's going on, man. We got my guy Dawgface. Y'all see the title. He breaking down Detroit versus everybody. What's the real meaning of it? He gonna get into some details on these things, man. Got a lot of guys, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people commenting from Detroit saying that he is not from Detroit. He say he been from Detroit. He been in Detroit since he was 15 years old, man. And y'all say he's not the voice of Detroit. Well, if he's not the voice of Detroit, he's a voice of Detroit, which might perhaps be the loudest voice of Detroit right now, as we, you know what I'm saying, in this content space, to be real though. But y'all get in the comment section, man, and let me know what y'all think about Dawgface and his opinion on the real meaning of Detroit versus everybody. Hit that like button, hit that hype button, and turn on that notification bell so you can be notified
with each other. Shout out to my man Hitter J3. Shout out to my man Rich Red. Shout out to the East Side Pyrus, the West Side Pyrus in Bompton. Shout out to them. Much respect for them. Let me give y'all an update. So I'm going to get on this shit and get off this shit. First of all, man, for the people who came at the 11th hour, who presented themselves as if they were trying to reach some type of understanding about what was going on between Detroit and LA as far as what was happening between what Baby Shooter was saying and what he was representing as a 5-tray Avalon gangster crip, right? Baby Shooter put out a statement that says that the only persons can come to Detroit, they can come to LA, right? Without him finding them and robbing them was 4-2 Doug, Baby Money, and Skiller Baby. I took exception to that, right? Here's why I took exception to that. Here's why. Because it's supposed to be Detroit versus everybody. And no matter what set you claiming, if you're from Detroit, you're never supposed to put another Detroiter in a position or in a predicament to where, hold on, let me back up for a second. Detroit versus everybody means this. Just because we need some clarification here. What the is Detroit versus everybody, Dawgface? Is that some rap shit? Is that the rappers? No. The term Detroit versus everybody, it comes from the streets. Detroit versus everybody don't have anything to do with how Detroiters treat Detroiters. Nothing, right? Not in town. There is no Detroit versus everybody in Detroit amongst ourselves because we kill and shoot and beef with each other. So we know it ain't no Detroit versus everybody because, so don't get caught up on that shit.
Oh, so what it sound like to me, sound like them boys from Detroit, they'll save each other out there, you know what I'm saying, out there when they outside their jurisdiction in another city or state or something, but when they in their own state, they saving each other, they each other. Nah, let's keep it going, I'm bull crapping, but let's go.
Right? Detroit versus everybody came out of the streets. It was born out of gangsters, out of hustlers who traveled, who migrated.
Okay, he breaking it down.
Who went OT. Whether it was to get money or whether it was party or whatever the nigga was doing. The term Detroit versus everybody came from the streets. Rappers didn't start it. The term Detroit versus everybody existed When the rappers that y'all now know who are the stars right now, they was kids. If they were even alive. There was an understanding amongst Detroiters that when we travel, wherever we travel to, that if we see somebody from Detroit in distress, even if we beefing with them back home, we are supposed to come to their aid and assistance. That's what that means. Now, you might say to yourself, well, Dawgface, so you telling me that Detroit versus everybody is not for the in-town situation, it's for the out-of-town situation. That's exactly what I'm telling y'all.
Okay.
Detroit versus everybody means is that when Detroiters see each other or come across each other out of town, even if we have a beef with each other in town, we ain't supposed to take that beef out of town. We call that showing your ass in public. So that means this goes back to when freak niggas go back to the late 80s. You had plenty of guys from Detroit going to Miami, going to Atlanta, going to the Freaknik, right? Going to bike night, bike week down in Myrtle Beach. You had plenty of motherfuckers who didn't like each other, who saw each other out of town. Houston, Miami, Atlanta, wherever. We're not supposed to take our beef and our situations that we have with each other in town, in Detroit, out of town. That's one. Number two, Detroit versus everybody means this. It means that if you see somebody out of town who from Detroit, if you see if you're a Detroiter, even a Michigander, because it expanded beyond Detroit. Because Detroit it's not just isolated. Niggas from Detroit fuck with niggas from Flint, Saginaw, Pontiac, Grand Rapids. Niggas from Detroit move around and niggas in this state get money. Niggas from Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Saginaw, Flint, all the way up to Muskegon, where you got plenty of niggas at. When you see somebody from the state of Michigan, right? Let's just focus on Detroit for a second, right? When you see somebody from Detroit out of town, Detroit versus everybody means this. Pay attention, motherfucker. This is what it means. It means that if you see somebody from Detroit out of town who you have a problem with, you're not supposed to take your beef that you have at home, even if it's a crazy beef. You ain't supposed to take that beef out of town. If you got a problem with a motherfucker, you could have easily dealt with that shit back home. You don't go out of town and embarrass us. That's one. Number two, Detroit versus everybody means this. If you see somebody from Detroit in Atlanta or wherever, Miami, LA, wherever, right? If you see somebody from Detroit in distress, you are supposed to aid and assist whoever that is. Whoever it is. Even if you are in a situation where you come across a predicament where the people who you are beefing with back home, you see them getting into it with some out-of-town niggas, you're still supposed to come to their aid and assistance because it's Detroit versus everybody. Now, if you have a murder beef or some...
Yeah, I think that might just be in Detroit, because if you got ops in this city and you see them out of town somewhere, catch them in a club in another city or something, where some out-of-towners at, we liable to stomp them motherfucker out with the out-of-towners. I ain't even gonna lie with you. That just, you know what I'm saying? That just how I go, though, some places, man. But I feel them, though. That's why they say they made that up. Detroit versus everybody.
Crazy shit going on. Okay, I get it. We understand, right? So even if you have a murder beef going on with some niggas in Detroit, and you see them in Houston, for example. Let's use Houston for the example. And you see the niggas you got murder beef on the floor with out of town, getting into it with some out of town niggas. I can say, okay, we ain't finna help these niggas because we really got murder beef. It's blood between us. We ain't gonna demonstrate out of town, right? And we ain't gonna necessarily help these niggas because it's on the floor with us back home. But
it's a race. If y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's a race.
But even if you don't aid and assist them, we get it, we can understand that. You're not supposed to do anything that's gonna give an out-of-town nigga the advantage on a Detroit nigga out of town. That ain't supposed to happen. Even if you beefing with them. She said, but Dawgface, we had a shootout with these niggas 4 months ago, and we see these niggas in Miami, and if we see these niggas getting into it with a motherfucker, we ain't supposed to pass no pistol to the niggas who we see getting into it with our enemies? No, nigga, you're not. That would be a violation. And once niggas in Detroit found out that you aided and assisted out-of-town niggas with getting down on Detroit niggas, that put you in a predicament where you were unsafe. And whenever you find yourself in a predicament, we ain't fucking with you. Do you understand that? That's what that means. So let me help you here. Let's just get right to the heart of this shit. So I'm talking about the whole baby shoot.
Even through bloodshed, come on, I don't know now. That's tough.
The Whack 100 thing, but I need to clarify something. Listen, if you are a Crip or a Blood or a Pyru, and if you represent a branch that was born out of California, LA, Long Beach, wherever, right? If you a Crip, a Blood, or Pyru, and you represent a set that is born out of LA and that is controlled by the motherland, which is Los Angeles, Compton, Watts, we get it, we understand, right? So here's where things get complicated at with the Detroit versus everybody thing. Once niggas from Detroit start to take on the badge of being a Crip, a Blood, or Pyru, and once they came under the leadership or under the guidance, or once they put themselves in a position where they had to report back to the motherland, to LA, to Compton, Watts, right? That was the beginning of the end of Detroit versus everybody. What do you mean, Dawgface? Here's what I mean. Let's use the federal prison system as the perfect example. Inside the federal prison system, right? You have what they call cars. And a car is really like a group, right? They call it a car because if you operate inside of a car, wherever that car goes, whatever direction that car drives in or moves in, if you're in that car, you move in that direction too. So let's give me an example. If I'm from Detroit and I represent the treetops out of California, then that means if I'm in the Fed joint and I'm rolling with the Bloods or the Pyrus or even the Crips, if I'm rolling with the LA gang, that means that I'm on their time. That means that if I'm in the Fed joint and I'm on Blood time, I'm rolling with the Bloods. Even if the Bloods get into it with somebody from the, you have different cars. You have the South car, right? You have the Muslim car. You have the Crip car, the Blood car. I believe the Bloods and the Pyrus in the federal system are mixed. I'm not absolutely sure. I went state, I didn't go Fed, so don't hold me to that. But I believe that once you're in the Blood car, that means you Blood and I think they merge when it comes to the federal system, right? So let's say, for example, if I'm from Detroit and I'm in the Blood car, I'm on Blood, that means I'm on Blood time. That means everything that I do, in terms of the people who I deal with the people who are of the same mind frame that I am or claiming the same shit I'm claiming. Here's what destroyed Detroit versus everybody. Gangs. Motherfuckers in Detroit adopting or becoming gang members and representing the LA flag. That is what destroyed the whole concept and principle of Detroit versus everybody. Why do you say that, Dawgface? Can you back it up? Can you prove it? Somebody's gonna do some pushback to you with that. Don't give a fuck. Here's what happened. If you in a Fed joint and you on Blood time, you in a Blood car, that means you on Blood time. If you in a Fed joint and you in a South car, that means you on South time. That means when the South move, you move. If something happens with the South car, you ride with the South car. So for example, if you are a Blood and you in the Fed joint, you in a Blood car, you ran with the Bloods no matter what. So even though you're from Detroit, if you operate in the Blood car in the Fed joint, you ran with they get down. So if the Bloods get into it with, for example, if the Bloods get into it with the Midwest car, and inside the Midwest car, you have Detroit, right? Chicago, You know what I'm saying? If you get into it, if they get into it with somebody from the Midwest, you have to ride with them. That's what happened in the Fed joint. If you in the Fed joint, I'm from Detroit, I'm in the Fed joint, I'm on blood time or I'm on Crip time. That means I'm operating in the blood car or the Crip car, right? If the Bloods or Crips get into it with somebody from the Midwest, or the cars get into it, the Midwest car crashes or clashes with the blood car, then as a member of the blood car, I have to ride with the Bloods no matter what, even if the Bloods get into it with people from my own city. Once motherfuckers from Detroit start adopting the culture and the gang activity of LA, that is what destroyed Detroit versus everybody. Because you're no longer loyal to your soil, where you from. You're loyal to an ideal and the principle of the gang or the crew or the set you represent.
All right, man, we're going to end that right there, man. Y'all want to go check out the rest of this, man, y'all go over there to Dawgface, what is it called? Yeah, the Dawgface podcast. Yeah. And you can go over here to real life productions too and catch the whole thing. He got like a whole album, 59, almost 2 hours on there though. But basically, Dawgface is saying Detroit is compromised by LA gangs. That's what he's saying, man. I know I'm gonna have a whole lot of people in the comments arguing about this one right here, man. But is that true? All the things that he's saying about the Fed cars and stuff like that, where how people ride out there when they go to the Feds and things like that. I don't know. I ain't never been to no Feds. But y'all leave y'all thoughts in the comment section though, man. Let me know what y'all think about Dawgface and his meaning of Detroit versus everybody. And do LA has Detroit compromised? Do LA has the whole world compromised, you know what I'm saying, to a certain extent, to a small fraction of people in this world that got off into the gang culture? That could be the case, you know what I'm saying? But hey, I don't know, we can call it baller, strike. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Dawgface and his, you know what I'm saying, and his stance on Detroit versus everybody. Hit that like button, hit that hype button. It's your boy BT Scoop. I'm out.